Welcome to amidaedutech.com. Subscribe to Amida Edutech for more updates.
Sir, third Global Renewable Energy Investor Meet and Expo is going to be organized in this month. So what are the expectations from this event for the Indian renewable energy sector?
Environment has emerged as a major concern for the entire world, and almost every country in the world have come to this realization that there has to be concerted move on the part of all countries to reduce their carbon footprint so as to reduce the global warming to below 2 degrees centigrade. And as a result, had discussions in the Conference of Parties in Paris. Thereafter, there is going to be another conference of all the countries on the issues of environment and global warming. And energy transition is a major step which the world has determined upon. Transitioning from fossil fuels to green energy. That is a major step the world has decided. We need to cut down fossil fuel consumption so that the carbon load on the atmosphere is reduced. I am happy to inform you that India is now one of the leading countries in this transition. The rate of growth of renewable energy capacity in our country is the highest in the world. In fact, on the sidelines of the Paris conference, COP21, we had said that by 2022, we will have installed 175,000 megawatts of renewable energy capacity. And in COP21, India as a country pledged that by every country had to make pledges as to what their targets will be. It was nationally determined targets, they call it. Our nationally determined target was that by 2030, 40% of our installed capacity will come from renewables. Renewables meaning wind, solar, hydro. Today, as I said, we are one of the fastest growing countries insofar as renewable energy capacity is concerned. If you take the renewable energy capacity which has been installed and which is under installation, it comes to about 1,90,000 megawatts, which is near about 60% of our total installed capacity, which is 372,000 megawatts. So we have not only achieved the goal which we had set for ourselves to be achieved by 2030, we have in fact crossed it. And the world has recognized that India is a country which is the closest to achieving the targets for limiting the global warming to 2 degrees centigrade. It makes sense for us in two ways, and for the world in fact. It is absolutely essential if the world is to survive that you reduce your carbon footprint. At the same time, it makes commercial sense, economic sense, because renewable energy is today cheaper than energy generated from fossil fuels. So it makes sense both ways. Environment is concerned, insofar as leaving behind a healthier planet for our children and great-grandchildren. That is our concern. So that's why we have emerged as one of the leaders fight against global warming. And we hold RE Invest, which we are going to hold on the 28th. And in fact, the exhibition will last for almost about a fortnight thereafter. We hold the RE Invest so that the entire world all the major companies in the renewable energy field, all the experts can congregate, can gather in India and display the latest technological developments in the field of renewable energy and discuss the various options and the paths available now for energy transition. So we have had almost 2 years. The third one is going to be held from the kicking off from the 26th of November. It will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister of Netherlands will also be sending a recorded speech, and then we have two ministers. The president of the next COP, Conference of Parties, is United Kingdom, so the Energy Minister of United Kingdom will be present on that day during the inauguration. And of course, the energy ministers of almost 70 countries will participate through video conferencing. And we have almost about 200 eminent speakers from across the world who will be addressing in different aspects of renewable energy. And all the major companies in the world will be displaying their technologies, all through the virtual mode, of course. The RE Invest is actually on two tracks. One is that all the companies and all the laboratories display their latest technologies. That is the exhibition part. And the other part is the discussion, conferences on different aspects of renewable energy and energy transition, transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy. So, as I said, we have about almost 200 speakers, experts in the field of renewable energy, discussing the various aspects of renewable energy. And this event in India, it generates a lot of interest. We are the fastest growing country as far as renewable energy capacity is concerned. And we have open bids, and all the major companies in the world come and bid. It's a transparent bid. So every major company in the world is invested in India. In fact, for the past 5-6 years, our investments in renewable energy have totaled up to almost $64 billion. So it is one of the highest sectors as far as FDI is concerned.
Sir, India has launched Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan to boost the local manufacturing sector. How do you see that Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will play a remarkable role in developing the indigenous renewable energy technologies, and how the recently launched production link incentive scheme would help in this direction?
We have the demand. As I said, the maximum growth in demand of renewable energy is in India. Therefore, there is the incentive to set up manufacturing capacity here. We have some manufacturing capacity, but that needs to go up manifold to meet our demand. And we already have letters of intent from manufacturers from across the world for setting up manufacturing capacity here. We have letters of intent for setting up manufacturing capacity for solar modules of almost 20,000 megawatts, solar cells for almost 15,000 megawatts. And apart from that, further upstream manufacturing like ingots and wafers. Insofar as wind is concerned, we are already not only self-sufficient, we are an exporter. We export wind energy products manufactured in India. In solar energy manufacturing also we have capacity here. We are exporting part of that as well. But we want that to expand, and it is going to expand. It is going to expand for two reasons. Number one, we are going to impose customs duty. We have found that some countries have been dumping equipment at very low prices in India so as to kill local manufacturing. So we set up safeguard duty, and now we are going to replace it with customs duty, so that is a long term. And further encourage manufacturers to set up manufacturing here. And the other one, of course, is this production-linked incentive, which we have decided to give in order to further accelerate manufacturing. You see, our electricity demand is growing at a very rapid pace. In October, despite the COVID, electricity demand went up by 12%. It's one of the fastest rates of growth in the world. And it will continue growing up because we have our per capita consumption of energy is low. And we have managed to connect now the whole country with electricity. All the villages have been connected. So the demand is going to gallop. And so this is the place where the demand is increasing. This is the place where we are meeting that demand through renewables. So manufacturing will come here.
Sir, COVID-19 has posed challenges for the renewable energy sector. So how the government is tackling these challenges to make the renewable energy sector more robust in the coming year?
COVID did not stop our capacity addition. Even during the period of the lockdown, we finalized 2 or 3 bids for almost 6,000 megawatts, even during the lockdown. So we had taken steps to make sure that our capacity addition in renewables does not falter. So it did not falter. We drew up a plan for liquidity infusion into the distribution companies so that they don't, the stress which they face during COVID, that can be overcome. So we've sanctioned liquidity infusion of almost 1,10,000 crores to the various distribution companies. So the sector is alive, growing, doing well.
Sir, the PM Kusum scheme is a major initiative launched by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy for the welfare of farmers. So how this scheme is going to benefit the farmers?
This will make power available to the farmer during daytime for irrigation. The cost of power for the farmer will come down to almost negligible levels. In fact, it will be almost free. The burden of subsidy on the state government will reduce and go away in about 5 years' time. After that, the governments will not have to bear any financial burden on account of agriculture irrigation subsidy. And we will be doing away with diesel in the agriculture field totally. And we'll also be saving groundwater. So all these objectives are being met under the Kusum scheme. That's how important this scheme is. What this scheme envisages is that we will solarize all the pumps. Where agriculture feeder is separate, we will solarize the feeder. Where agriculture feeder is not separate, we will also provide assistance for separating the feeder so that the feeder can be solarized. Where it's going to take time to have a separate agriculture feeder, we will give solar panels to the individual farmers. So these are the options which we have kept. 30% of cost we are giving. 30% the state government is giving. 30% will be a loan and 10% the farmer has to give. Most state governments, in fact almost all state governments, so that the farmer does not have to pay even that 10%. In fact, we have tied up loans from NABARD for the remaining 40%. And also Power Finance Corporation, the REC, are giving loans. 30% from the state government, 30% from Government of India, and 40% loan from PFC, REC or NABARD. So you solarize the feeder, then using 40% loan from NABARD. The loan is repaid by the saving in subsidy which the state government has, because now it does not have to give any subsidy. That money and that subsidy burden is huge. In most states it's 4,000 to 6,000 crores per year. The larger states is 11 to 12,000 crores per year. So that goes to pay the loan. That and the surplus energy which is generated, because the solar generates electricity throughout the year. Agriculture operations are limited to about 120 days a year. The remaining 240 days you have surplus power which is generated. That also is available at very low cost to the state government. So the cost of that power, which is net free gain, plus subsidy which is being saved, that goes to pay off the loan of the NABARD. And the loan of the NABARD is paid off in 4.5 years. After that, the outflow of finances from the state government comes down, is zero. The state government gets an income because of the surplus power. The farmer gets electricity free. And we have also provided an incentive in that. If the farmer saves electricity, that much money he will get. So there is an incentive to the farmer to only use that much water which he requires. So groundwater is also saved.
Sir, what major changes do you foresee in the renewable energy technology landscape, and how these changes is going to affect growth of renewables in India?
The advancement in technology has been a continuous process. The efficiencies of the solar cells and modules has been going up, and they'll keep going up for some time. So the cost of power will come down further. In India, the last bid we had was 2 rupees 30 paise per unit. Whereas if you take thermal power, it comes to, adding the fixed cost, it comes to almost 4 rupees. But it is going to come down further as the efficiency of the solar cells goes up. So it will come down to almost about 1 rupee 20 paise per unit because of the increasing efficiency of that equipment. Storage is going to become more and more cheap. Once that happens, then it won't make sense to have any fossil fuel based energy at all, because this energy will be available to a consumer at, let's say, 2 rupees 50 paise per unit, which will make a huge amount of difference to the lives of the consumers. They'll be getting energy at such low rates that they can do many more things, have many more appliances, and live a more comfortable life. We will be reducing the carbon load, and we will be leaving behind a healthier planet. The water in the rivers will be clean, fresh. I say that what we are engaged in is electrification of the whole economy, because our objective is that the mobility should also be electrified, so that you don't have petrol cars and diesel cars spewing smoke. That's going to happen. And the cooking will also be electrified. So the pollution load will go away. And the electricity, we are greening it. 190,000 megawatts out of 370,000 megawatts already installed or under installation. So the electricity is going to be cheaper, and it's going to be healthier. In fact, if you look at electricity, India has carried out a number of path-breaking 3-4 revolutions in the field of energy. India. We have connected the whole country into one grid, right interior of Leh to Kanyakumari and Arunachal Pradesh to Kutch, Gujarat, one grid. This is the largest single unified grid in the world, because it is one grid with one controller for the whole country, running on one frequency. That's what we did. The second thing which we did was, we connected every village. No village is left out. Third thing which we did was, we connected every house, universal access. And we added 27 million new consumers in a space of 15 months. And the International Energy Agency called it the largest expansion of access in the shortest possible time, in the 15 months, in the whole world, ever in history of energy. And now we are leading the world in energy transition, in transitioning from fossil fuel based energy to renewable energy.
Thank you, sir.